So in this particular video, I will demonstrate the project structure that we have. So this is an application written in TypeScript. So the first part is, as you can see, this will contain all the CI actions that we have. It ensures the package builds every time. And the test.yml describes the CI action that we have to test our changes on the CI server. Now, this one's created automatically by the coverage library that we have. The config folder, as the name suggests, has different configurations for different environments. A nice feature about this is that the test.yml is loaded every time we set the environment as test. So if we want to include different configurations as per different environments, we can use we can do that by adding more files over here. Now the coverage folder is generated automatically by a library that we are using. It will allow us to view the test coverage reports in with a significantly better UX, so that we can easily access what's going on in the tests. The docs folder is currently empty, and the node modules folder basically just contains the dependencies that we have, the ESLint configurations, prettier configurations, the log files that basically, since you're using a logging library, a dedicated logging library, so we have features to dump the logs to files so that they can be accessed later on. A nodemon config so that we can hot reload and test the application in real time. Package.json, just like every other configuration file that we have in any node project. That's the work of package.json file. And then we have yarn and yarn log. The main reason for those are we are using yarn instead of npm because of personal choices and also the performance improvements that yarn provides. Now in the src folder resides the main code base that we have. So the main role of server.ts is to basically just call the app.ts and launch a server on the set port, as you can see here. Now the complete description of the Express application that we have written is in app.ts file. It includes a lot of dependencies, and then we are importing the routes over here, the auth routes and the user routes. I've written a middleware called cookie decoder, which I'll go through in the subsequent videos. And here we are initializing the databases and ensuring that these databases are functional before we start the application. So this one initializes a MongoDB instance, this one initializes the cache storage that we have, and the final one ensures that the roles are basically set up, as you can see over here. It says that all the roles and resources. Now moving on, we create an Express application. We include the body parser because we'd be needing to parse the body that that's coming and converting it into a JSON file. And here we are including the cookie parser that we've written, and that is basically it. A route that's called every time, and it just shows that the service is alive. And alright, so the cookie parser is a library that is there is a node module that we have, and the cookie decoder is something that we have written, and we are attaching the routes over here. And at the last we include the HTTP exception transformer. Now this is a node module that I myself have written, and I'll show you the use of this in the subsequent videos. So I've gone through this particular file, and if you'll check the code base, you'll find two directories in the src. One is the module and the second is services. So every section of the routes that we have, like /user/auth, we have divided it into modules. So you will see an auth module over here. Everything that goes after the /user route will be handled by the user route, and everything that goes after the auth will be handled by the auth route. So in these particular files, .spec.ts file is just the unit tests that are written for the controllers. Now I'll start off with the routes file. The routes file is more or less like any other route file that you find in any Express project, but the best part about this is you will see that we are throwing exceptions but not using try-catch blocks, which makes the code really clean. And the only reason that this is possible is we are using this HTTP exception transformer. Now while developing this particular prototype, I wrote this npm package and published it. So that is the main reason for that's the main function of it, so that you can throw exceptions from anywhere, and you can send responses that are easy for the clients to read. And here, as you can see, we are checking if okay, The role resolver checks what role the current request is coming from. If the user is unauthenticated, then they are assigned the role of a visitor, and if they're authenticated, then we see that what roles they're being granted. So the role resolver does that, and then we check if the user has the permission to read any profile. So as you can see that by using this particular library named as access control, we are making the code really readable, and if that's granted, now I'm just using a tiny knot over here so that I can just throw the exception over here and then continue to the code base. That makes the code read really clean. So if they're not allowed, then we throw a forbidden exception that not enough rights to view the list of users. And just like if they'll not have the rights, then we'll throw the exception and then the response is returned. And just in case if they do, then we'll fetch all the users that are there and we'll send the responses. Similarly, we are doing it for accessing details of individual users, and then doing something very similar for creating new users, because only new visitors are allowed to create new users, for deleting users, and then we are just exporting the router. So many times there may be overlapping permissions, like some roles would be granted to read any or delete any profile, right? And there will be users who will be allowed to delete their own profile only. So that can be done with using something like this. So we are checking if the given user can delete any profile. Either they have this particular power that they can delete any profile, or they have the power to delete their own profile, and the email that's being supplied is of their own profile, right? The cookie data.email, basically we are storing the email of the user in the cookies file in the cookie. So we compare it. If they match, then we delete the user. So that is basically it of how the routes are working. Now we are trying to follow the MVC pattern over here. So those were the routes, and the routes are in turn, as you can see, calling the controllers, user controller.get_users. So So as you can see here, there are different controllers. For one controller is to get all users, second is to get particular user by email, third is to create user, and the fourth is to delete a user. Now I've strongly typed these because the reason is that to have a nice integration and ensure that the right data flow is maintained. And what this does is it just loads the user service and loads all the responses that we have. And similarly, this calls the user service and finds one by email. This would just create a new user by calling the user service, and then this would delete the user by calling the user service. Now one question that might arise is, why exactly are we adding an extra layer of controller when we could directly have called the user service from the routes? Because as you can see, the controller is kind of really thin, as we call it, and I'll explain that in the next video why we are following that particular reason. And that is it, because alright, I'll explain that in the next video. So the controller is just calling the user services and manipulating the data if required. Now this interface file contains the interfaces that we are using for the routes and controllers. So every module has its own interface file, so that we can easily find out, like we can easily list out all the interfaces that are being used. So the model.ts file contains the Mongoose model that we have. So if we have like prescribed the document structure that we're saving in MongoDB, and this is the enum. And the main reason because like you don't see direct strings over here for role.admin, role.moderator, and role.user is that this allows us this basically gives us a strong support for auto completion. So if I press role dot, and then you can see all the roles that we have. So this is kind of very useful, and it allows us to avoid small typo mistakes that can happen. Now routes are done, and services I'll discuss in the next video. Now the user module is done. The auth has something very similar to this, so I won't discuss that. And the second folder is services that I'll be discussing in the next video. Thank you.